2012, I discovered TB, as I mentioned. At that point, I was kind of transitioning from working harder to working smarter. Back in 2010, 11, somewhere in that time frame, I really hit rock bottom mentally. I'd hired a lot of the wrong people, thought I had decent processes and systems. There was just a lot of things in my business that I didn't realize were broken because I was working so hard I couldn't see it. Sometimes you're working so hard, and as long as money's kind of coming in, you're good, you're happy. But then once stuff starts breaking, you're like, wait a second, I wasn't set up nearly as well as I thought. I ended up firing my whole staff back in 2010, ended up hiring my sister and told her, I said, I am sick of dealing with bad people. A lot of it was on me too, right? I mean, knowing what I know now, I was trying to buy the cheapest people.
Yep.
I was not leading them correctly. I was not training them. There's a lot of things I was doing on my side. Yeah, a lot of what business owners do, right? So I hired my sister, and she was the key instrumental part of me turning that around. From then, I realized there are people that can do things better than me. I think as entrepreneurs, we think that we can do things the best. There's something to be said about that because we are really good at negotiating deals. We are good at a lot of things in our business. But two things. One is, there is somebody that's better than you, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, there is somebody that's better than you. You have to find them.
Yeah.
Or be okay with 80%. Be okay with 70%. There has to be that threshold that you have to be okay with because you have to let go of things. You just can't continue to drive yourself into the ground, which again, I did for at least 10 years, right? Until I figured it out and I was like, okay, I need to make a change. I transitioned from being the sole person after I took all the jobs back, doing everything myself, hired my sister. She became my administrative assistant. She became my transaction coordinator, property manager, and then eventually she elevated to project manager, and then she trained someone to replace her in those other roles. And now she actually does project management and acquisitions. She has people under her that are helping her in project management and also has some help in acquisitions, but she pretty much runs the whole organization. And so within about 4 years of hitting rock bottom and hiring my sister and hiring a coach that knew how to run a business without the owner being there, and having that, it's kind of like the 4-minute mile, right? You don't understand that it's possible until someone does it. And I was showed that path. And so within about 4 years, it was actually probably less than 4 years, I was able to automate my business to where it ran without me. And I moved from Wichita, Kansas to San Diego. So I lived there for about 10 years. Now I live in Boise, Idaho. And so we flip over 50 deals a year. We take everything down. We burr a lot of deals. We keep a lot of properties. And I do it all in less than 1 hour a week. Like literally, I said it earlier today to a mastermind group. I thought to myself, like, if someone told me 1 hour a week, I'd be like, you're full of crap. But seriously, like, I get emails of when we get deals under contract. I get another email that, hey, we did an inspection. Here's the budget. I approve it. When the property is done, I get an email that says, we're done with this. Where do you want to price it? And help with some of the negotiation. And so I literally spend probably 10 minutes on each deal. What if I could show you how to work half the time that you are now, or better yet, create what I call a 5-hour business? I want to show you my 3-step system that showed me how to go from 60 to 80-hour weeks to now only having to work 5 hours a week in my businesses. The truth is, I actually don't have to go to work. If I don't go to work, I still get paid and my businesses run without me. In fact, a couple years ago, I got really sick and couldn't go to work for many months. Not only did my businesses run without me, but they did record numbers, doing millions and millions without me. Now I'm on a mission to help as many business owners create businesses that run without them, or at least the ability to work 5 hours or less if you want to, while your business still grows. So if you want to learn more about this, go to 5hourbusiness.com, where I can share my 3-step process on how you can do the same. Again, 5hourbusiness.com. Probably more than I spend, really, because I trust my team. I put a really good system in place. So when they send me a deal, it's all laid out in a nice email. Comparable sales if I want to dive into them, pictures if I want to dive into them, the situation, where the property came from, the budget. And literally within 2 minutes, I could be like, yeah, this is a deal. I actually turned down my first deal. I can't remember turning down a deal before. Even when my team sent it to me, they're like, hey, we made this guy a crazy offer. We didn't think he would take it. It was $2,500 and we just threw him a crazy number. But now after we run the numbers, Like by the time we put money into it, it's only going to be worth 80,000. We have to put 60 some thousand into it. And they even told me up front, it's probably not a deal, but since we have it under contract, we figured we'd send it to you. We just can't make money on that deal. So that's what my business looks like. It's doing podcasts. It's helping people with TV. I ran a mastermind earlier with some of my clients. It's really working on things that I want to work on, things that I love to do, things that I know drive the business, that build relationships. And then I've just hired some really good people, talented people to run not just the real estate investing business, but I don't really have to spend much time in our TV media company. I've got a co-working space that runs without me, and I'm looking to build some other things here that are kind of in the works that I'll announce here in the near future. So that's what it looks like right now. One message I'd like to give to people is, like, it took me 10 years to figure that out. And there is a point where, and I struggle with saying this because, you know, people say you have to struggle and you have to work hard and you have to do nights and weekends. Kind of true, right? I mean, if you really want to get somewhere fast, like, you do need to put some extra hours in the beginning because it really amplifies things. Right. But there's a point where the excitement wears off, where you start getting tired, where, you know what I mean? It's usually, I don't know, anywhere from a year to 3 years, maybe 5 years in the business, where it's like, this business isn't quite as exciting anymore. It's not as new. The honeymoon phase is over. Yep. Now it's like, what do I really need to do to continue to have fun and for it to be new and fresh? And I think in order to do that, you have to have good people in place. You have to have time to think. You have to be able to take vacations. For me, I'm off at 5 o'clock every day. I take weekends off. I take usually one trip a month or every other month to just kind of get out and kind of refresh and just get some ideas and just take some time off. And, you know, that all sounds great. And if you would have told me 24 years ago what I've built now, I would have been like, get me there, because the first 10 years, I'm like, I cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. It wasn't all bad. You know, you close a big deal, you're an entrepreneur, you're working for yourself. There's some fun in it. But at some point you're like, man, I'm just working 7 days a week, 8 to 12-hour days. And some people can take that, right? Like my personality, I work very hard, but I realize when I have periods of time that I can think, that like even before this podcast, I had an hour and a half before where I just ate lunch, cleared my mind. I, you know, was able to actually think, whereas the old me would have been like, I have an hour and a half, grab a quick bite, and then I'm going to jump into something else and get something else done before I jump on with Rick. You know what I mean? So it just, there's different stages that you go through. Your mentality changes. And hopefully, fortunately, I don't see this with a very large percentage of the entrepreneurial population, but at some point you'd have to figure out to work smarter. There's this badge of courage that people, when they work harder, they're the first one in and the last one out, that people give them a badge, right? It's like, oh, I'm working so hard, or oh, I'm so busy. And don't get me wrong, I'm still busy in my own way. Right. Busy to me is different than, you know, busy 80-hour weeks, right? To me, it's an average of about probably 30 hours a week. So anyway, I could talk on and on about entrepreneurs and their journeys, and everybody has their own journeys. So if you're in the 80-hour week journey and you're loving it and you're crushing it, don't let me take that away from you. I just know that at some point the excitement wears off, things happen, you get kicked in the side of the head a little bit. If you don't have the space to think about it and to navigate and to be outside of your business when something happens. Because like I remember 2 times when things happened in my business and I was so entrenched in my business that it was hard for me to figure out how to get out of it. Whereas if I was more outside of it with good people and automations and things like that, I would have been able to see. Someone said something the other day. They said, when you're in the jar, you can't see the label. You have to see the label. You have to see the ingredients. You have to see what's in it to be able to make good judgment call. If you like this video and want to make a lot more money in less time, check out this next video.